all my horror homies, my fantasy friends out there. I get so tired of saying hey y'all all the time because I am from Virginia. That's a common greeting. So let me know if you guys like that. When I do these reviews, I can start calling you guys my horror homies, because if you know, right? So we are on episode 4 of Lovecraft Country, and someone told me that these aren't reactions that I'm recording, they're actually reviews. And I get that, because I'm not watching the show and giving you guys my live unadulterated reaction. I'm more so summarizing the stories and my take on it, or summarizing the episodes and my take on it after the fact. So thanks to whoever that was that pointed that out, and I will call these reviews just so that you feel like it's not clickbait or anything. So here's my review of episode 4. There are just a few things that I wanted to get into. Okay, I initially wanted to see more of that haunted house from episode 3, right? Because as I mentioned in my last video, I'm a haunted house fanatic. I have watched that episode probably 3 or 4 times now. So we begin this episode and we find out that the Freemans and Miss Letitia Lewis have to...
My name's not Girls, Letitia fucking Lewis!
...back to Boston. Yes, they are heading back to Massachusetts, just because there's some new information revealed by Christina, and that is that there is a vault containing some lost pages that Titus had regarding the Book of Names from the Lodge, and that will hopefully help to piece together the language of Adam that they are after, so that the Lewises and the Freemans can start using some spells to hopefully get the lodge up off of them. Now, there are some major things going on in this episode. For one, Aunt Hippolyta is not down with the shenanigans. She knows that something is up with Tick and Montrose and Letty, and she basically included herself in everything, because she's just like, something y'all not telling me. Y'all going back to Boston after my husband was just killed when y'all went up there, so I'm taking this next trip with you guys. And it ends up being a trip to a museum. And as you guys might have figured out, Aunt Hippolyta is very intelligent herself. She's like a whole astronomer. So she's like, oh, you going to a museum? I can go with you. I'd be more than happy. Y'all using my car? What black woman just gonna let anybody, family or not, use their car and they not coming with you? I don't know about y'all, but the way my insurance is set up, I'm riding with you, or I'm gonna take you there. Like, you ain't just taking my car.
I need to borrow your car right quick. What kind of shit is that? Most people want to borrow sugar, or even ketchup. You want to borrow my car? Hell no. The hell on.
Like, what? So Aunt Hippolyta is along for the trip, as well as Tree, the neighborhood. I consider him a clown. He's kind of like that annoying guy in the neighborhood that nobody really likes, but you know, he's from the neighborhood, so people know him. So Tree is coming along for the trip. He lying on his D. He been lying and acting crazy, and you know, just showing that he got some animosity towards Tick, so I don't really like him. And Montrose, of course, is coming, as well as Letty. So Letty has found out that Christina actually purchased her home, and she's upset with Tick because Tick found out, and now he's letting her know, like, we gotta stop her. She told me that there's these extra pages, we gotta go find them in this museum. And he's dug up some dirt basically on the lodge and on Titus Braithwaite, and they're in the library, and he realizes that his dad knows more than he's leading on to, because he's reading through the same books to get information about the lodge that Tick is looking through. And it's funny because this episode takes on a whole Indiana Jones, whatever it's called, the Mummy, like, it's really an adventure. Lewis and Clark, honey, all of them. And it's funny because there's a little boy in the library who just so happens to look like Tick, and he's reading Journey to the Center of the Earth. I think that's the name of the book. And they literally take a journey to the center of the earth because they have to break into the museum after hours and find the vault. And it leads them to all these different tunnels and booby traps and things that they're running away from and trying to get to, blah blah blah. Watch the episode for yourself. This is just my crazy quick synopsis. Now, some things that really made me go was that when they find the pages, they find a woman who is a member of the Arawak people, who are a Caribbean indigenous group. And I think that the Tainos of like the Caribbean countries like Puerto Rico and Cuba are tied into that ethnic group as well. And it's sad because her corpse comes to life, and basically Titus like wiped out her entire people. It's like a genocide or whatever, and it's just showing more layers of how crazy the Great Whites are. And it's pretty interesting because this woman that they're speaking to she represents two spirits, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with two spirits in Native culture, but it's basically the ideology that you represent divine femininity and divine masculine. Some people think that it just means that, you know, you're sexually fluid, or that you are, what is the word? I would guess non-conforming would be a better word to use. And the way that I have come to understand two spirits is just that you're a special person, you know, within your tribe that embodies, you know, both genders. And yes, you are non-conforming. It's almost like the ancestors have not given you an identity, and it's very important that you embrace all, you expand upon all things. And maybe I don't fully understand the concept of being two-spirited in Native cultures, but they kind of make this person out to be more so of a, I guess the word would be hermaphrodite, I think, when you have both genitalia of males and females. And it was interesting. I don't know how accurate that depiction would be as it relates to what is really considered being two-spirited, but you know, it is what it is. And Montrose ends up killing this person. I don't know if it's because he wants to break the curse that they're under and finally free this spirit and her people, or if he's like, I don't need no more of the story to be uncovered, because he's like hard on Tick about following this wizardry and this sorcery, and he's like, there's also 34 other lodges. And it's like, if you have the answers, and basically Letty told him, like, if you have the answers, why you got us chasing our tail?
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Kanye,
I've been doing this more than you.
Doing what?
You ain't got.
Come on, chill out.
You ain't got the answers.
Kanye,
you ain't got the answers.
I'm asking you.
You
Be real, tell us what's up so that we can get this lady like off of our behind. Another aspect was that Ruby was kind of upset because she saw that the store she wants to work at has hired another black woman and not her, after she's been trying to pioneer and make her way into that store, being the first colored woman to work there. And so she's really mad, and she just decides to have a night at the bar. You know, she's performing. She goes to the bar, and the barkeep is like, or the bartender is like, you know, somebody got your tab. She looks over, and why is it William, y'all? And I believe she's under his spell because they end up doing the do. And some people in the Facebook groups that I'm in, and I'll link that group below so that you guys can join if you want to engage with other people who love this show. It's really a great group. But a lot of people were saying, oh no, she just needed it to get her rocks off and everything. I'm like, you would get your rocks off with the white boy at the bar after you've just been antagonized by your white neighbors. They've tried to blow your house up fooling around with your boiler. They have been, you know, just antagonizing you and your family, and you would sleep with the first white guy you see at the bar. I don't think so. I think it's a mixture of she's drunk, she's under a spell, and Christina is using her, and she wants to get to all the people as close to Tick as possible, just to keep them in her back pocket as pawns. Montrose was a pawn, Letty is a pawn, Uncle George is a pawn, everybody. She's trying to get everybody involved. And there's a lot of speculation that William and Christina are one and the same. There's also speculation of like, who is that person locked up in the captain's office? Everybody's saying it's Uncle George. I think it's just a random person from the South Side, because he said he was supplying, well, the research says that he was supplying bodies basically for Hiram at the Winthrop house. And there's also a lot of Jewish communities and publications that are kind of upset with the depiction of Hiram Epstein, just because he carries a Jewish last name and he's basically a sadistic scientist, and many people are saying that that deals with a stereotype of Jewish people using non-Jews as sacrifices, and that goes to some biblical rituals and things of that nature. And I feel like this show touches on a lot of things and cross references, you know, spirituality, religion, and uncomfortable truths. And I definitely don't think that this show is anti-Semitic, but it's dealing with, like I said, a lot of uncomfortable truths, realities, myths, legends, fantasies, all sorts of things. And if that's the case, if this show is anti-Jewish, it's anti-Black, because, you know, all Black people didn't experience the same things that they're experiencing. All Black people weren't victims, and all white people weren't bad. But I mean, it's a fantasy show, and it's spanning different eras, it's spanning different things that have happened to people. And I think that it's fiction at the end of the day, so I feel like people shouldn't read too far into it. I think that they should definitely be cognizant of the themes within the show, but I still love it. I like it. Let me know what you guys think about episode 4. I give this episode a 1.5 thumbs up. Let's say that, just because that whole Indiana Jones experience had my heart racing. I had to put my phone down a few times. I've been watching it on my phone. I had to put it down a few times because I'm like, this is giving me bad anxiety, and I don't know how I feel about Ruby and William, so I'm gonna keep watching. But this wasn't my favorite episode. My favorite episode is still episode 3, just because, again, more haunted houses. And speaking of the house, there's a tie between that vault where the hidden pages are and Letty's house, so we will see how that plays out as well. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.